I don't doubt.
Kiss 107.1.
Kareem, that's just sounds Kareem like that. So.
It sounds like you're in a closet when it's that far away.
Not for you. Your voice is strong. Hers is, I don't know.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen. We're so glad to be with you today. I have with me in the studio someone who's riding shotgun with me.
He is certainly not a stranger for most of you all, at least those of you who are active and doing things in the school systems or in the community, because I see her everywhere making great things happen. And she's with us on today, serving a great announcement upon the Straight Talk listenership. And that's no one other than our very own Lisa Coney. Lisa, give a shout out to our listeners.
Good evening. It's 107.1 FM Community Connections listener. So glad to be here today with Pastor Kareem.
All right, she's here with Pastor Kareem, and this is Straight Talk. I'm laughing with her because, people know you in a particular way. And, it's kind of difficult for them to catch you outside the box. Well, we're here today, Lisa, having a conversation, and I want to say this before we get started. When I was looking to do something with the school systems and really trying to make a difference on what we could bring to the table with our young people, she was one of the two individuals that I sought out to sit down and to ask questions and to ask what were the things that were needed in our community. And she was so helpful, and I'm so thankful because that which you had helped give life to is now in operation. So I want to say thank you, Lisa. And so, Lisa, you're here. We're going to talk about why you're here in just a second. But what I would like to do is let's get right into things. Let's give a shout out to the main man, the Rob Father. He's over there pulling in levers and making things happen. Rob, give a shout out.
And just taking volume. Shout out to everybody. Straight Talk.
And Rob is over there. He's like, Kareem, your voice is too strong. I'm like, No, turn me down.
No, your voice is fine, but I'm trying to avoid overmodulation because it sounds like when I produce it.
So. Well, okay. For those of you who are listening, I guess I got to put my Barry White voice on. Is that what
your
you're
voice
saying?
Is strong. Your voice is strong.
Okay, my voice is good.
Yeah.
All right, so we're in here, and as always, we have a good time while we're together. But let's just get to what's on my mind. There is so much that we need to talk about. And Lisa, if you don't mind, I got to see what is, first of all, let's talk about why you're here. And then when you tell me why you're here and where your district is covering, I'll determine if you can be a part of this conversation or not.
Well, thank you. I'm here, and a lot of people know, and for those who don't, I am running for the new District 10 County Commissioner seat.
New District 10, why is it the new District 10? Explain.
Because after the census, when there had to be a redrawing of the districts, and so with the population changes, every 10 years, there's a redistricting. And so there is a new District 10 now, and it encompasses 2 precincts in the city and 3 precincts in the township.
Okay, so this is 2 precincts in the city?
2 precincts in the city and 3 in the township.
See, that's why I have to find out exactly what I'm talking about before I have my listeners talk. And Lisa, your camera is over there. Okay. For those who are going to be out there, because social media, for those of you who are listening on the radio, or if you're saying, hey, I can't find what's going on, and you turn on the radio, this whole meta thing has me in. Y'all remember they put me in Facebook timeout? Well, now they're telling me I need a 2-3 password authentication, and I don't know what it is or how to get through it. Okay, and so it's out there. And I have been ignoring the notice until no longer am I able to do so. So this new district, this new area is part township, part city. Correct. What parts of the city of the township are we talking about?
Okay, so in the township, we're looking at precincts 10, 11, and 12. And that encompasses Weiss to Mackinac to McCarty to Lawndale to Tippawasee. And if you vote, so your voting location. So if you are in the township and you vote at Hopewell, Church on Center Road, or the fire department number 2 on McCarty, you would be in part of that new District 10.
Which means Lisa is going to have to tip through to the tulips while I share with you all what's on my mind But Lisa, what I love though, and I'm just joking with you. What I love though is, we were talking and I ran into you at a restaurant and I was like, look, what are you doing next? What are you doing next? What's going on? What's happening? And I wasn't aware that this was happening. But the reason I asked her the question, for those of you who are listening, is because she is always doing something. Now you're on this show. I'm going to have to get you on my other show as well, because that is a part of your district as well.
Okay.
Those listeners. So what is the reason? Why did you decide to run, Lisa, for this particular position? Why?
I am by nature and have been called to be a public servant. And as you know, doing a lot in the community, a lot of service, a lot of engagement, and being in the school systems for over 25 years, I'm hearing students, including my own two daughters, who graduated from Saginaw school systems, went away to college, only come back to visit, but they didn't come back to live. And so I'm hearing a lot of students in the school system saying the same thing. Once I leave here, I'm not coming back.
That's what I said. Yeah. I wasn't coming back. I don't know how they got me back here.
Opportunities, and I think that this is a great time to be at the table to create those opportunities for jobs with livable wages, not just having to work 2 or 3 jobs, but jobs with livable wages, homes, recreational activities. So this will be a great time to be able to encompass some of those goals and those visions that I have, to bring people back, to make sure that some stay, and to create more opportunities for employment in our area.
What are the key areas, the things that you're looking at that you think are very important, Lisa? So when you talk about goals and the vision that you have for your precinct, your district, I don't know how we should say a district.
District.
Okay.
District 10, new District 10.
All right, for District 10, new District 10. What is the vision that you have in mind for District 10?
Employment, livable wages, so we don't have to work 2 or 3 jobs, and activities, community-based activities, social activities, family, recreational activities, and that's about it. So that encompasses everything, and creating an atmosphere that is inviting and inclusive to everyone, so that people want to engage, they want to come, they want to be a part of our community.
That's amazing. Because I always say, hey, if you don't have a vision, then we hit. But we want to let's get to what's on my mind, and we're going to start off with something that I'm really interested in hearing your take on. We're talking about Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. She is now, in fact, Justice. Excuse me. Confirmed just recently this past week. What are your thoughts?
I am excited.
What excites you about this?
I am excited. She's overly qualified for the position.
Okay.
And I know I've heard a lot. I've watched some of the questionings, from the different senators, but she stood her ground. She knows her stuff. She's qualified. She's overly qualified, and bringing a different viewpoint to the table that hasn't been there for so long.
What does this mean to you for Black Girl Magic?
Glass ceiling shattered.
No, watch your toes, man. Make sure you have on some shoes, because you might get your toes cut.
Definitely.
This is amazing, and a historic vote, 53 to 47. I say historic for a number of reasons. One, because we are now in a time where if the Democrats are in lead, you got to have Democrats in control, or you're not getting your Republican votes. This was, in fact, a bipartisan vote. We had 3 Republican senators, Collin, Murkowski, and Romney, who all defected from their parties, which I think is sad that we have to say that they defected, because, as you said, she was overqualified. And if you go back and you look at some of the things that has been said about her in her previous confirmation in D.C., they were talking about how qualified she was, how great she is. They support her so very much. And now in this current climate, she was villainized. We saw, and we shared on last week, how Cory Booker had to step in just so she could have a moment to breathe, and just kind of give her some support. And so those of you who are out there, I asked you the question on last week, what does it mean to support Black women? That's what that means. Once again, it doesn't mean you go on stage and slap somebody until you're embarrassing in front of the world, but it means that you just give them pause, you step in, and do what's necessary. So congratulations, Ketanji Brown Jackson. She is one of our Supreme Court justices. She is historic. She is a Black woman. Hear her roar. All right. So I kind of let myself into this Will Smith thing. I'm so over talking about it, Lisa, but I'm so over talking about it. But now we're coming out with the decisions of what's taking place, the punishments. And guess what? We're going to talk about it again the moment Chris Rock has a meaningful conversation about what his feelings and thoughts were. But now we knew that Will Smith stepped down. We knew that from the Academy. And now they said that they've given him his punishment. And folks, if y'all listen, the punishment was 10 years of not being able to go to the Oscars or any of the functions. It may take that long for him to get a script that's Oscar worthy in the first place. So this to me is Rob, what do you think? You're over there laughing. What are your thoughts? I mean, people are not like just chilling at it is not the Grammys, okay? So it's the Oscars, the most boring show that's usually on TV. So what kind of punishment is this?
I think it's a slap on the wrist.
It is
a slap on the wrist, considering everything else that's happened in the past, and knowing that Will Smith has a backup job as a rapper and a music producer and that sort of thing.
Ain't nobody mind his rap music.
I'm just saying, and it's not much of anything. It's something, but I knew the writing was on the wall for a hand slap the moment he resigned off the Academy. Yeah. So I said, okay, let's just see what else. That's why on my Facebook page I simply said, okay, he got the 10-year punishment. What else is the Academy going to do?
They're not going to do anything. Let me tell you why. Because Will is Hollywood. He is big box ticket seller.
I figure as much. But now that was a rhetorical question for me. But I want to know whether or not Chris Rock was going to do anything.
Well, you know, I'm going to tell you what Rock going to do.
I think he's still processing.
Yeah, Rock said he's processing. I'm telling you what Rock is processing. And y'all, you all sit back and listen. This is Straight Talk. So I always give it to you straight, no chasing, no filter. That's our tagline. Rock is back processing like, I'm going to get him. I'm not going to slap him. My other 9 brothers are not going to come for him. But we're going to sit down with our writers at the table. We're going to come up with the funniest jokes. We're going to talk about Jada with a bald head without saying she has a bald head. We're going to talk about Will and his insecurities and August Alsina and Tupac. And they're going to use this in a comedic light. They're going to make it a laughing stock. The word, what's the saying? He who laughs best. Mm-hmm. So,
he's given them plenty of material. The book itself, Will Smith came out with, he's given them plenty of material. The fact that his whole life and his wife's life has been put out there in public, he's got plenty of material. It's a wonder that Chris Rock and other comedians have not come forth before this slap, but now it's on.
Well,
as you say in the community, it's on, baby.
The story, when you get mad in the hood, you say, "Well, it's on site. I got you on site. It's on site." But anyways, what we're gonna do? That sounds like we had no hood cred right there. I'm gonna be very real with y'all. Like it's on site.
I never said that in Philadelphia.
Yeah, no, I was just saying.
You just simply say it's on.
I lost. It's on site. But when we look at this, I think that it's funny, and I think that that is what comedians do. They retreat, and you have to find the humor in it. And the cool thing about it is that Will and Jada are going to have to find a way to laugh at his next few jokes for probably about a year. Sources say that they have about an hour of material that they're putting together. And so
my girl Wanda Sykes had a thing to say about it. So she's wrapping up some stuff there.
Wanda's hilarious.
I can't wait to hear what Wanda has to say.
It should be interesting. But this is the thing that I want to say to my community. Yo, people have a community forum. Let's listen in really quick. When I think about this, and I've never really kind of gone into it this far because I was really disgusted by not only the event. What was upsetting to me was the fact that moments later that all of Hollywood would stand to their feet and give this man a standing ovation and basically say, okay, hey, regardless of what you do as a person, we accept you. We love you. You're great. We're going to celebrate you. We're going to give you your flowers. We're going to give you the highest award that can be nominated to an individual in your class, even when you just acted like a third grader. So
the Academy did acknowledge that they're mistaken.
Well, I get that, but I'm not even talking about the Academy at this point. I'm talking about all of the other people that were sitting in the audience. And we sometimes celebrate things because it's out of ritual, but we've got to begin to realize that how the Hollywood mentality, and this is what they put on our screens, Lisa. They put on these things where you're forced into responding in the way of the things that you have seen. And that's what I think that we saw. One person stood up, oh, we got to all stand up. And we lost the ability to be free thinkers for ourselves in that moment. And that's one of the things I think is most dangerous to our young people, is that we don't have young people who are able to think critically and make decisions that are different from what the crowd is doing. And that is exactly what we saw. Another thing that I really did not like about this, and you may have heard this already, is when I think about the things or the ways in which Black men are often characterized. We're characterized as being violent. We're characterized as being aggressive. We've heard the misnomer over and over time. Every time we talk about police brutality, what do they ask us, Lisa? What about Black on Black crime? And so in this particular situation, I believe that we'll further portray the stereotype of Black men that is inconsistent with what we are and who we desire to be and how we desire to be viewed. So those are things that are my issues. I'm gonna get off that story. I'm moving right ahead. But we're gonna get to this story. We're gonna talk a little bit more with Lisa Coney. No convictions for these gentlemen, the 4 gentlemen who conspired and plotted to kidnap Governor Whitmer. What is going on here, Lisa? Is it just a free for all? Do whatever you want to?
I'm speechless. I don't know. I don't.
She's literally speechless. Yes. Rob, I'm tripping, Rob, because I mean, you got to think about this. Is nothing off limits anymore? I mean, so we've seen what has taken place with this conspiracy to kidnap our governor. And I'm thinking this is
tapes, they have evidence,
and videos and phone conversations, everything. Exactly. You know, they're showing up outside this woman. Is nothing off limits? Is too far no longer a thing?
But they had the defendants had a good lawyer, and then they had a weak jury, and they had a weak judge.
Well, I mean, the population. If you look at, you know, the last 2 gentlemen that were being prosecuted, Adam Fox and Barry Croft. Their jury ended up in a deadlock. So 50-50 would kind of look like what our community looks like. So half the people are saying he's in it, but where has common decency gone? Have we eroded to the fact that we're going to play party lines, even when it comes to people's lives?
And this is the reason why it's taken so long for the January 6th Commission to do its thing.
Absolutely.
We have to cross every T, dot every I, so that there's no loopholes whatsoever, so that the big cheese is not, you know, gotten away with the way that's happened with Governor Whitmer.
Well, you know,
hope they have it again federally. You know,
I think, you know, in the era since previous presidential stuff, things have changed, and people, it's not covert; it's more overt. And we have to figure out some type of way to say, "Hey, this has got to stop. It's not acceptable." And that some things need to be called on and you need to be prosecuted. Pure and simple.
I'm laughing because while you were talking, Jeffrey Bull said if they had hijabs on, they'd be on death row. You absolutely better believe it. Let them come in there with a dashiki or anything that was a resemblance of a nation that is not consistent with the majority here. And we would have had a very different, but since they had flannel jackets, shotguns, and rifles, it was different than if they were carrying handguns and AKs. But there is no difference in terms of what's happening. Jeff, I'm going to ask if you share on your page with this, because we're struggling here in social media land because they got me in some type of a Facebook prison, but we will break up. We shall overcome. But so anyways, I thought that was crazy. Come on, people. Those of you who are listening, it's time for us to get to a better place where politics does not divide us. We're sitting here fighting a war in another nation for the purpose of democracy, which is the ability to be free and to think and to work. And we are living in a nation where it is hanging on by the threads, because what we saw on Michigan, they tried it in Michigan, and then it reproduced itself once again on our nation's capitals for that January 6th. And so the best of us has not been shown, but there's a lot of work for us to do. Next, Amir Locke. Amir Locke, I don't know how many times we're going to have to, pretty soon, there's not going to be anyone left to talk about, but Amir Locke was a young man that was murdered in Minneapolis, same city, same situation, all over again. No knock warrant. This is reminiscent of what happened with Breonna Taylor
They can bust into a house, no knock, didn't announce who they were. Young man is sleeping on his cousin's couch. When he awakes, he has a gun because he's an Uber driver. And if you're an Uber driver, you bet, because people are jacking people on the streets. He makes movements when he hears sound. They see a gun and they shoot him, and they're justified in doing so. I don't understand how this is not a problem. But this brings back into light, hey, we got to stop talking about there needs to be a change with these no-knock warrants and actually bring out the legislation. Let's get busy. All right, let's stop worrying about the wars around the world. I think it's important for us to have a national identity and to stand up for justice. But come on, we got voting rights bills and voting no-knock warrant deals that we've got to deal with here in our country. And I don't know if you guys have heard about this last one, Mario Taylor, because I'm going to get into what we're going to talk about was building collaboration in the community, which, Lisa, you led into that as a segment, and that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. Robert, you heard about Mario Gonzalez out in the Bay Area?
I think so.
Okay. He is a 26-year-old Hispanic male, and his situation is so reminiscent of what happened with George Floyd. He was seen in a parking area, parklet, and walking around, and they thought maybe he was inebriated. There was a phone call that was placed in, not 911, so they didn't think that this was an emergency. And plus, they knew, hey, this is a brown-colored dude. We got to be careful with how we handle this. So they called into an non-emergency number, and I think it was Alameda County, and the police show up. After engaging with him about 9 minutes, they arrest him down to the ground. This is so crazy. 4 individuals were sitting on him. And he asphyxiated as George Floyd did. So that means that they basically killed him by removing the air and his ability to breathe. So much like George Floyd's situation. The body camera shows that he was never aggressive. Cameras in the community shows that he was never aggressive, but they just thought it was time. Hey, we got to get back to our job. You're impeding us from doing what we got to do. And they took him down, and this young 26-year-old man is no longer with us. But guess what? No charges have been brought to this situation. Rob, what must we do to begin to, come on, you an OG. I need some insight. You give us young bucks some wisdom on how we need to handle this.
I can give any and keep my job too, bro. Remember, I'm from Philadelphia. I have a different mentality about certain things. You know, I have to keep my composure and all that. Otherwise, I become the Hulk, and you wouldn't like me when I'm.
Well, yeah, we like when you're angry. But the actual piece here is, you know, we've been dealing with a lot of this stuff, and most of this stuff has been Midwest Texas.
This is why George Floyd thing was so prominent. You know, we made an issue of it. Had it not been for videos and social media, we would have never heard about George.
Absolutely.
So if out of all that, we still have this happening in California. So we still need to do it again. People are not.
I mean, it's happening everywhere. It ain't stopped.
No. This is a case we know about. You know, I fear the ones we don't know about. And not just necessarily a man. It could be a woman next time. You know, it could be a pregnant woman next time.
Well, these situations are just horrendous. And
you just can't tell someone to just cooperate. But if you're already cooperating and not giving anything to anybody, what is the problem with the police then?
Well, that's the issue.
It's excessive force.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And they need to start prosecuting. And I think that there will be a turnaround if they want to make examples of people. Start prosecuting those police officers.
They have to be.
Yeah.
This idea of immunity and
yeah.
we were doing our job and this happened it was just it's unbelievable what's taking place here. And so I say to the community, hey, this is the Hispanic community. They, Black and brown folks together have to deal with many of the same issues. We are all in this thing together. It's time for us to rise up and begin to make a change. We're going to take a quick commercial break. That's all the stuff that's on my mind right now. We'll be right back after we pay these commercial bills. Stick and stay and don't go away. All right, we're going to get back to your conversation.
At Culver's,
Facebook's referring to like Google and websites are dealing with two-factor authentication. All the base asks you to do is give a phone number and make sure both numbers are valid with your account. It protects you from me logging onto your account as you, because they send your verification back saying, "Are you Kareem Bowen?" And when you get that text on your phone, then it's okay, I'm Kareem Bowen. Then you can log in. Once that's set up, then you should be good to go.
You know, I did that like several times.
And I've been reading that some people have problems with it. Yes.
They know what they're doing. They're trying to keep a brother down.
Yeah,
Google's doing the same thing. Even here at Alpha Media, we require two-factor authentication for the Alpha Media Google account.
Oh wow! I only
Just
have
a
to do
layer
that for
of
my
security
Saginaw
and
Valley
protection.
account, but that's it. Yeah.
Hello, ain't nobody trying to.
You got in trouble. That's why.
That's what it is. They're trying to send me back. I won't go back.
There we go. George Floyd. I'm not going back. You see, you got Zuckerberg at your door with his thugs taking down Kareem Bowen.
Oh, you know what? This time it may work, bro. I got so many codes. Then they want to give you. I think we might. Winner, chicken dinner.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, but. 439. Let's see if it works, because normally it just spins.
30 seconds. Since you're a candidate, I suggest you look at the camera when you talk to the audience.
Okay.
From time to time, that way you get to see who you are.
Okay.
That's why I can point to the camera.
Oh, okay.
They ain't doing
We're
that.
gonna know the faces. If we get the name, then they know the face.
Thank you.
Stand by.
This is trash.
Get free shipping and 30% off at Eucora. Just text HELP to 64,000. Text HELP to 64,000.
You're listening to Straight Talk.
Hey, this is Kareem back, and you're in tune with more Straight Talk. Before we left for commercial break, we were talking about the young man out in California, Mr. Gonzalez, that was murdered by police officers in like fashion with George Floyd. I just want to take a couple of there's a couple of things that we have out here. One of our people there on social media says, when you fail at your jobs, you get fired, but police get more funding. Hey, that's a real thing here. I'm not an abolish the police person, as this person said, abolish. I'm not an abolish the police person, but I am about, there's something called corrective action. And so, if you're killing people, you should get fired. But then there should be some action in terms of teaching people how to effectively operate in their jobs. And I agree with you 1000% there. But today we're going to talk about the need for collaboration in the community, community collaboration. And I think that this is such an important conversation. I've been screaming this from the rooftop for some time, that we have to do something different. And I was always raised to think that there was power in numbers. And those of you who are listening, I got people texting me, I can't get into Facebook. I can't see what's going on. I am sorry, people. Blame Mark Zuckerberg. It is not my fault that you can't get in here, but I can't do anything about it. But Lisa, when you think about collaboration and you think about communities and the need for collaboration, what comes to mind? Because actually, you talked about this in your opening address to our listeners today. Why is collaboration so important to you?
I think because different organizations or communities have different expertise in certain areas. And so being able to come together, to work together it makes more sense. Because if I am an expert in restorative practices, you're an expert in healthcare, someone is an expert in de-escalation, why not bring all of those resources together and to create a better opportunity to be able to impact more people?
Absolutely. And when I think about collaboration, and I've said this so many times in our community, and I get it. I just, I got to be real about this for 1 second. I understand why there is a lack of collaboration in many ways. One of the issues is because we have been devoid of opportunity for so long. And so when the opportunity or opportunities arise, we go out of the gate. If y'all saw the Kentucky Derby this past weekend, we go out of the gate like horses at the Kentucky Derby, trying to seize the moment and just trying to get our stake or our piece of the territory so that we can get in. That in that process, we sometimes lose focus on the fact of the big picture. So I get that, but we are now at a place that we have done some amazing things as community individuals in our civic world, in the business world. What is necessary for us to get beyond this hurdle of working together? They always say that we can't work together.
Lisa, Black folks can't work together. And you've heard that a minute. You say it's untrue.
That's untrue.
Okay, then explain. Then talk to me.
I just think that when we see the big picture, and if we are looking at impacting more people, reaching more people, reaching more of our community, that it's a no-brainer. We have to come together. I can't, as an educator, I am not a law enforcement person. I am not a health provider. I know some things about those areas, but that's not my area of expertise. But if we are coming together, we're working together, we can impact and reach more people. So it's like a no-brainer. I give you a prime example. Great Lakes Bay Health. I sit on their advisory board for the school-based health center. They years ago, like, how can we reach more kids? Okay, so we come where they are. So they have school-based health centers inside the school building. That's what collaboration is.
No, and I agree with you. When we bring collaboration, we bring all of our great ideas that we have. We bring all of our expertise from our different fields. That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
But Great Lakes Bay Health is not a Black organization. It's not. And you know, I've seen this because what's coming up pretty fit is Cinco de Mayo. And the Cinco de Mayo parade has become a big thing in the Saginaw community. I salute my Chicano, Latino, Latinx community for the things that they are able to do. Salud. I mean, it is amazing. Every single time Cinco de Mayo comes around, and I'm glad because now we're past COVID, we get back to it.
Correct.
But I see every aspect of the Hispanic community showing up in such a powerful way. Larry Rodarte, mi gente on WSGW, I see him out there. I see the Low for Life guys. I see all of the elements of the community. I see their culture being expressed in a way that is not expressed on regular occasions. We see the young Hispanics, we see piñatas, we see the low riding cars, we see the beautiful colors, the dress, the sombreros, everything that represents, people who are descendants of Mexico on display. And it is a great occasion. Then you go over to the park. It used to be at the Dow, now they're across the street. And there's a huge celebration, and there's food, and there's games, and there's music, and you hear the Tejano bands playing, and it's an exciting moment. What is it that our community, and I know one of it is, they have a direct linkage to their community and their culture, but what is it about the Black community that we struggle to bring together that level of unification in the things that we're doing? I see some attempts at it, and I think, is it education? Is it the importance of understanding what's going on? Because when I look at the Divine Nine, and I say this, shout out to the Divine Nine out there. I am not one of them. You guys are not blessed to have me on one of y'all squads, but I represent. I respect you people. When I look at those individuals, and I said education, because when we look at those institutions, we see the Kappas, the Sigmas, the Deltas, the AK. All of y'all get together, and you guys do things in the community. You guys are doing philanthropic things. You guys are putting on programs together and making an impact together. So what is it about those types of organizations that are not showing up in our daily community, the daily community beast?
I think they are. I just don't think that they're screaming, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. But I think that they are in small increments. We look at the African Cultural Festival. I think, I'm not mistaken, the Saginaw African Cultural Festival is the longest running festival.
Shame me, right?
Yes. Okay, so this is a 3-day event.
Absolutely.
Here in Saginaw. And each year, due to COVID, they kind of scaled back. We're coming back this year for 3 days. And so we are there and doing some great things. And even that committee, they work hard.
Who's the head of that community?
Ralph Martin.
Is there any reason why we're talking about this particular committee? Is there any reason why we're giving a shout out to this committee? But shout out to that culture committee.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
They are doing the work.
Absolutely. They are doing the work. And I guess when I say this, Lisa, and I'm glad, that's why there's a balance to be had in the conversation. I'm being the devil's advocate to some degree because you're right. Is it the African Cultural Festival? I want to make sure I get this right.
I believe African Cultural Festival. Saginaw African Cultural Festival.
Rob, let us know.
Saginaw African Cultural Festival.
Saginaw African Cultural Festival.
And for the last 2 years, I've been a part of that as helping as kind of an MC with Ralph Martin there, helping me, asking me to help out. and it's been a pleasure doing that. And they have still done it for 3 days straight. The first year during COVID, we did it online. Myself and Vicky Hill helped with that, MC that. And then last year we did it on stage at the park, Marley Park. And I think this year's going to be even bigger and better.
All right, so Ralph, all of your fans are in the room with me at this moment, and so kudos to you and the staff. But I know that before you, Dr. Don Hinton was out there. There has been, and Mr. McNair. I mean, come on, he is the legendary, the Black Papa Smart, and I say that with all of my love and my heart because that's what we called him growing up. This man was. I think he set the pathway for us to do this. I am saying this because if we can do this for a festival. Then why can't we do this when we're talking about grant opportunities? There's this whole ARPA, American Rescue Plan Act. The dollars are out there, and everybody wants all these different programs. And when you look at them, they're all the same thing. We could pull resources, as you said, that would give us the ability to pull talent. That would give us the ability to bring ideas in. We could ideate and create things that that are from another level. But soon as we see something come up, everybody wants their own idea instead of working with systems and structures that are in place. Rob, you said there's too many cooks in the kitchen, and nobody, too many bosses, kings and queens, and nobody. We used to say, too many chiefs and not enough Indians. And the reality of it is, is that a perspective? Mr. Bull said collaboration also brings truth-telling, which is true, and many don't want to exit a man corner. They don't want to exit the man corner. If entities are falling, there must be accountability associated with that falling. Also, let's be honest, there is classism at play too. Certain folks don't want to collaborate with lesser folks. What you mean, Jeffrey Bulls? Come on. We all Black folks. We didn't all overcame. We didn't waded in the Jordan River. Now we are on the other side of things. There is still classism. Is there classism in the Black community, my other Black folks?
I don't know. I think there may be some in every aspect of
life.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Rob, what are your thoughts?
We have a problem with ego and pride.
Ooh, ego and pride.
It's wonderful.
That just came up. Ego.
It's wonderful for us to be black and proud and having ego and pride. Whatnot. I grew up with that. However, everything must be done in moderation. You can love food, but you have to eat in moderation. You can love smoking, but you smoke in moderation. You can have love whatever it is, but do it in moderation. And then if there's other people involved around it, you have to sometimes share that or teach that, because if it's just you being the boss and leading the way, who's going to follow? Exactly. We all can't be bosses. We all can't be leaders. We all can't be kings and queens, even though we call ourselves that, is what I'm saying. That's the problem we have in our community. Too much ego. Drop some of that ego down a little bit, Step back a little bit and say, oh, okay, he has a better idea. She has a better idea.
And you know what, Rob, let me say it this way, because I don't necessarily, some of it may be ego, but I think in some of these things we operate in these silos, and I think it's more directed towards something called pride. And
I mentioned ego
yeah,
and pride.
yes. And so when I look at this, and those of you who are listening to me, what'd you say?
Pride goes before a fall.
Pride goes before a fall. We can run away from the word as much as we want to, but it's so true. But when I look at this, I don't think that any particular objective starts out or is created with the idea of, ooh, they're doing that, I'm going to do this. Mm-hmm. They got that. I don't think that that's how it starts. But what I think that happens is we come up with what we think is the greatest idea in the world, and somehow we believe that we're the only ones who has that idea. Right. And we don't do our due diligence to see who else is aiming or targeting or working in this capacity. So I'm going to bring this in, and if I get with the right people, then we can make this great thing happen. And so pride would have us to think that we're the only person who is thinking in that lane. It would have us think that we're the only people who are capable or maybe have the understanding on how to impact in that particular area. And I say that because when I was doing some of the things that I'm working on right now, that was almost how I approached the situation. And then I said, you know what? This is what we've done for so many times. I said, I'm sitting here talking about what we can do to benefit schools. And I've never worked in a school in my life. So I said, let me pull my pride down and let me go to the experts. And the ones that I saw that was doing the work was you, Lisa, and Arshan Baldwin. Mm-hmm. And you guys are out there every day on the front line grinding. You see what the needs are. And so I think that a lot of the reason why we don't see collaborative efforts is because we don't take the time to do the work that's necessary to find out, is this something that we need, and who's operating in those spaces already. And so it may not necessarily be, this deep, dark secret and everyone wants to be mean or this evil conspiracy, but I think it may be just the fact that we don't take the time to do the work.
Exactly. And see what else is out there so that we can, even consider like, maybe I need to invite somebody else to the table to, I can do the marketing and you can do this piece and have a bigger impact. Years ago when I working at Saginaw Public, I was the project manager for the Safe Schools, Healthy Students Initiative, which was a SAMHSA grant. So the funding required, a part of the grant was to have community involvement from different sectors. And so it wasn't just the education piece, it was law enforcement, it was community mental health, it was physical health, it was early child. So there were all these other different sectors coming together and working together, breaking down those silos and working together for the bigger picture.
So I think that's one place to start. I had a conversation and I was talking with, who was I talking with? I think Dick Garber, who does a lot of funding in our community. And I was talking with the previous CEO, and I may have even brought this up with the current CEO out at HSC. And we were talking about their funding and how they help with the community. And I said, one of the things I think that I've never seen before is the fact that collaboration has to be a mandate as a party to you getting these funds available. When they were talking about the ARPA dollars, one of the things that I suggested to our illustrious mayor is that, Mayor, I think that you should make collaboration a mandate, because what we'll do is, there's certain buzzwords for the season. At one point it was success, the project success and achievement and all of these different things. It was a 21st century thing. Then it was this and that. And we have all of these different things. Right now it's STEM. So everybody STEM. It's popping. But what are you doing in terms of your collaboration with other entities in the community? And so we've got to begin, because at that point that we begin to bring other pieces of the community together, we see where our cracks are. There's something called the SWOT analysis, which I know that you're aware of, Lisa. And one of those areas is a T, SWOT. T is, what are the threats to us being successful in this process? And one of the ways that we can begin to protect or to fill the gaps is through the process of collaboration. How oftentimes does someone else see things a little bit different than you do? Even with what you're doing, Lisa Coney, with running for the 10th district of the second city of Saginaw County, why do you think your voice is important there? Because you've listened to the people that are in the community, you know the area, you know the constituents, and you provide a different perspective. So I want to bring this back to your area. We're going to come back to this. How are you planning to bring the spirit of collaboration to this new District 10?
I intend to be the voice for the people, and I intend to be the voice for the people in the new District 10, to not only speak on their behalf, but to listen to them also. So when they come to me with questions, with concerns, to be able to be that voice and say, hey, someone in this precinct, a community voter has a concern, has an issue. So let's sit down at the table, because just because one person comes, there are probably thousands more that have the same question. So let's sit down and look at a way that we can address these concerns, address these issues. I am not, quote unquote, a politician. I am a person who's concerned about my community and making an impact in my community and continuing to serve in my community. I'm not a, quote unquote, a politician, but I want to be able to do that work to make sure that the voices of our people are heard.
Well, let me tell you what's important about that. And those of you that are listening, we're going into a whole political season. I mean, we're going to have people, and there's some people that want to come to this show, Lisa, that I'm not accepting to come onto the show. And I'll be absent if the powers that be say, Kareem, we need to let you need they paid. I won't be here that day. I promise you. Because if you have not shown up since the last time we've elected you in, you're not coming here. Because straight talk is just that. And you can't come talking out of both sides of your mouth, making promises, but we don't ever see you where the rubber meets the pavement. So one of the things that I want to say about you that I love is that you have always been a key piece of what is happening in this community. Now, I know that when I got out the air, my mother said, "Will you stop being so bold? You say whatever you want to say." You know, Rob, you hear that all the time. But I can't say anything other than what I believe, and that is a part of, I think, why I'm here, is because that is my personal conviction. If you're not going to be honest, if you're not going to be real with our community, if you're not delivering real change, if you say that you're here and to bring change into the community, and we see you in your 1960 classic car that reminds me of when people were being shot down and hit with water hoses in the community, and then you want my vote, but I don't see you until the next election cycle, I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. I'm looking for somebody to raise up into in our community, because I think that there should be no challenges or no positions that are unchallenged, whether that be our our county prosecutor or our county sheriff. I think that they all should be, because it makes them become better. Don't sit in your glass house until we see you next election. Now, if I start getting pulled over by police officers, it's Rob's fault and not my fault. Y'all come to my rescue, okay? But I'm just saying that
you're talking about accountability.
I'm talking about accountability,
and you can't be accountable for every election season. That's when you're accountable for, because that's like taking a test. You studied the night before, and then you failed the next day and wonder why you failed. You know,
so we have to be accountable. So I appreciate that, and I just want to look at these people that you are endorsed by, because I think that when you come in and you receive the endorsements from individuals, it is very important. Saginaw County Commissioners that exist: Carl Ruth, people know who he is. Sheldon Matthews, Gerald Little, Michael Webster. I've had great success working with all of them. All of those are can-do individuals. They've been individuals that have brought the community together. And for them to highlight you and to endorse you in this way, I think represents a great deal of confidence in knowing that you can be a can-doer, because they are can-doers, okay? The city mayor, Brenda Moore, our mayor, our illustrious mayor, who was passing out, I think it was Platinum Wireless. All of those Easter bunnies had kids, a million kids. Looks like all the kids from the city of Saginaw were over, was at Hoy Park. And great job, Mayor. Kudos. My guy Charlie, he has made a commitment to really impact the community. And Snap Matthews, Commissioner Sheldon Matthews, they do an amazing job of working collaboration.
Exactly.
That's a perfect example of what I'm talking about, where the city officials come in and they partner with a private community entrepreneur business in the community, and they work together to make an impact in the community. So kudos to you guys.
And I had the opportunity to work with them last, 2020 during the census, when we were looking at getting more people counted for the census. So I was out there with the city, with Mayor Moore, and with the county commissioners, and enrolling people, set up tables in the community, and had our iPads up there and enrolling those families and those children to make sure that funds were coming back to our community.
Kids 107 was there.
Yes.
They had hot dogs and hamburgers, and we were showing up. Yvonne Daniels, the content program director for the radio station, she made sure that we were involved with what was taking place. And so, but that is exactly what needs to take place. If anybody's listening to us out there right now, what we're talking about are the things that are so important as you form group. And I want to say this: as you form your groups to make an impact, make sure that there's diversity in your groups. We cry so much about diversity as it relates to the corporate America and to the justice systems and all of these other places. But when we operate in our own communities, let's not operate in silos. Let's make sure that we're reaching across our community lines, and that we're bringing in a group of people just like that to make great things happen. And I think that those are great examples of how we can get things done. And I think that this 10th district happened because of those types of efforts. And when we begin to do that together, we can then make sure that we have what I would consider our eyes and ears in every space that we're currently working in. So let me continue. So we have our past county commissioner, Chuck Stack, past city mayor, Joyce Seals, who is absolutely phenomenal. She's now on the board of education for Saginaw Public.
Correct.
Doing amazing work there. When I saw her go there, I said, Joyce Seals, this is where you need to be. Our undersheriff, Miguel Gomez, and the other guy, Sheriff William Spetterspiel. So you definitely have a number of individuals who are powerful. And honestly, I don't have a problem with Sheriff Feathersfield. He knows that. If I have Bill in my number, I'll call Bill. He'll call me back. But Bill, I will say this, and I'll say it to your face. I don't have no issue. You have to do better about being present when it's not campaign season. And I know that he'll probably be on this station, and he'll probably be out there for votes, but we need to see him. And the only way that we can hold him accountable is to say it. If we fear that we're going to be harassed, we fear that we're not going to be a part, then we're never going to see change happen. I'm not that dude. Wrong guy, wrong season, wrong time. All right. So as we begin to go forward, we've been talking about the spirit of collaboration. Let us know a little bit about Lisa Coney, because right now we're collaborating. You're a partner. I'm rocking with you. So I don't believe that I fall in your precinct, but I think that we get, when it comes to commissioners, we can vote on those county commissioners as long as we live in the county, right?
You vote on the commissioner in your particular district.
Okay.
So whatever district you're in, and there have been some changes. So, and I know that there's information out on the website. So, like we're saying, that the lines have been created and they look a lot different than they did before. And so I'm just urging our voters and our community to look out for that information. Some may have been mailed to the homes. It's on the internet at Saginaw County site. They have the new maps. The districts look different. Our state seats look different, and it goes all the way down. So,
do you believe the changes that you see are they beneficial to the communities that we're talking, Black and brown communities? Are they changes, or have they remained neutral?
Well,
or the opposite.
The new people are not in office just yet.
Okay.
So they're running, and it's going to look a lot different than what it has. And so being able to have someone there that represents your voice, that can speak on your behalf, that you'll be able to contact and not only see when it comes time to voting, but to be there, to be in the trenches. That's the accountability that me running for this position, and I always say and hope that the work I've already done speaks on my behalf. And so the other people that are running, ask questions, be engaged, go to meetings, find out what their mission is, what their goal is, and see if they will represent and be your voice for your particular area. And if not, then you can vote to not allow them to come back or vote for somebody new.
You just got to get out there. You got to listen and pay attention to what's going on.
You really do.
I'll tell you what. One of our listeners, actually Jeffrey Bull, said something. Bring back coffee hours with elected officials. Now, I'll tell you something. When you said that, I thought coffee and conversations. I think that's something that falls in my wheelhouse that I would really love to do. Individuals that want to be elected for public office, let's create that platform. We'll call it Coffee and Conversation. And
even, it can be any time of day or even evening, because people work different hours.
Absolutely.
And they have other responsibilities.
I drink coffee at 6 o'clock in the evening sometimes.
So let's be available.
Absolutely.
When they need, when they want that time, let's be available to them.
But I think that we create an opportunity, a platform, because what often happens is we talk about the things and we talk about the politician, but we don't ever give explanation as to where people are and what they stand for.
Exactly.
And so we often elect people to name recognition, or because we saw it on the ballot before. Feathersfield, oh yeah, he's going to be better than Brown was, or Jackson, or whoever. And the only reason Feathersfield is because he has been in that position. Or you hear Seals, oh yeah, I know one of the Seals family, but you don't know what they stand for. And so I think it's important to have those things. And we're going to do something, Coffee and Conversation. I'm going to make sure that you're one of the first people that is a part of that. I'm going to talk with the powers to be here at the station, if they would be interested in getting a recording of that and having us, spend some time talking with our community, inviting the citizens out, and allowing them to ask questions and really be informed.
What do they want to address? Exactly.
Okay, you heard it first. Lisa came up with a Coffee and Conversations. She was influenced by Jeffrey Bulls. We are going to do it. Jeff said happy hour too. I don't know about happy hour. People might get a little happy at happy hour. But I think happy hour, I think about something, but I got what you're saying. And you're saying exactly, you guys are saying at the same time that we need to have those conversations at times that matter for our community. So Lisa, I need you to tell me, you're here we're here, we're talking about collaboration. And this work that you're going to be doing is going to be very important because you're in a precinct that is both Saginaw City and Saginaw Township. I'm going to tell you what excites me about that. Because for so long, there has been, well, it's not an imaginary line, there's an actual line that separates the two. But the reality of it is how Saginaw City goes, so goes the township and vice versa. They can try to take every service and everything that they want out of the city. But if the city is negatively impacted, guess who's going to be impacted as well?
We're one community.
We're one community. Too small. We're too small. Exactly. Come on, you got 5 members of your family. You mad at 3 of them. Come on, your family's too small for that stuff. So I'm excited about the fact that you are in a place that is on that border, that you get to bring information and provide information to both sides, and hopefully be able to acquiesce some sense of partnership in the precinct that you're a part of. So tell us a little bit. I'm reading this here. Your key points about who you are. You're running for new District 10. This takes place August 2nd, 2022. That is the primary. The primary.
Yes. And then the general election is November 8th.
First, is it the first Tuesday in November?
It's the first Tuesday, the first Tuesday after the first Monday.
Okay.
So it's,
so you got to have a Monday, then that first Tuesday after. Gotcha. All right, we got this time. Masters of Social Work at Eastern Michigan University, EMU. Over 3 decades of experience in public service as a licensed professional social worker, board experience, Saginaw Community Housing, Saginaw County Jury Board, Saginaw County Community. This is some stuff that I'm learning. Community Health Authority, Saginaw Valley State University, Community Engagement, 30 years plus community engagement, Soup Kitchen, Community Coat Drive, League of Women Voters, life member of the NAACP, life member of the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Great Lakes Region School Board. Tell me, who is Lisa? Tell those are your achievements, your accomplishments, but who is Lisa Coney?
Lisa Coney is.
And Rob is going to make sure that you speak directly. That's right, Rob. Get our production staff. We're going to do this the right way.
Lisa Coney is a very down-to-earth public servant. My godparents raised me, and I learned at a very early age of how important it was to be of service to my community. I am a mom, 2 beautiful daughters, a grandson. Overall, just a person that's committed to change. My mission, my purpose is to be a voice and to be able to create change, to be able to show people their purpose. I love working with youth. I want to be that voice, and I want our youth to be able to feel comfortable staying in our community once they graduate from high school, livable jobs, livable wages. And if they go away, come back to college. I mean, we have great colleges, locally, but Saginaw Valley, Delta College, other colleges in the state of Michigan. But if they go away, to come back because we have something here to offer them. I hear too many times that they want to leave, they don't want to come back. We need to create opportunities for them to stay here, to grow our community, jobs, come, housing opportunities, the whole gamut. So I want to be that voice for the people. I am a servant by heart, and I want to be able to continue that service to impact more change in our community for the greater good.
All right, community, you've heard that Lisa Coney running for the new District 10. Vote for her, and she will solve all of America's problems. We certainly thank you with everybody. We're getting a collaborative effort with everybody. There's one name that we did not mention that I know is a shining star, and for her to stand by you means a lot. That's my dear friend. I wish I could call her Mama. I'm gonna call you Mama. Rosa Halliday.
I tell you, when someone approached me about, reaching out for this position and saying, "Hey, Lisa, this is an opportunity," and I think, "Oh, okay. Who could I get to be my campaign manager?" And someone said, "Rosa Halliday." I reached out to Rosa. Rosa said, "Lisa, because I know what you've been doing in the community, I will do it." She said, "A lot of people reach out to me. Sometimes I say yes, sometimes I say no." She said, "But I've seen you, I've watched you." So people sit back and they watch and they observe. Absolutely. And so she said that because she's seen what I have already been doing, before this even came about that she would be the one, and she's been a taskmaster.
She has hit me up. She's made sure that I've stayed on point. Lisa, I want to thank you for your time, your commitment here today. Let's get collaborative in our efforts, community of Saginaw. Rob, thank you for being a part of this collaboration. If you're listening to Straight Talk, thank you. Come back next week. We'll talk to you again. Straight Talk, no chaser, no filter. See you next week.
You're listening to Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen on KISS 107.1. The views and opinions expressed